Hi guys, Happy New Year or belated Happy New Year depending on when this video goes up and what time zone it is there. And I have a lot of new content planned for this channel, and this video is kind of like one of the new things that I thought of. Well, I'm not sure if this has been going around in YouTube or something, but as far as I've searched, it isn't really that big, or it's not like this. So I'm doing the Sharpie marker challenge, and with the Sharpie challenge, the mechanics are you can use any pen to do line art, but with the coloring, you can only use Sharpies. Now, as you can see on the right, I have a Copic colorless blender. That was in case I needed to kind of erase any color that goes outside the lines, but so far I didn't have to use it. Now for this piece, I used the ultra fine tip Sharpies because that was the only thing I had on hand. Actually, it was my sister's. But I recommend that if you do this challenge or if you just color with Sharpies, don't use the extra fine tip unless you want to kill your hand, or use a really small illustration like what I did. So let's get started with the speed paint. So I'm starting out to color Jinx's skin first. This is Firecracker Jinx, one of her skins, just to celebrate the new year. And the Sharpie marker skin color I had was really dark, so I just applied it around the shadow. Now with the hair, one of the difficulties I had was doing the shading because I'd been so used to a brush tip that it's been really easy to get pressure variations. But with this small tip, you really had to think about how the way of the hair flows. And it was hard to do a lot of the more detailed rendering like you could normally do with the Copic markers. Like, I tried to cheat that a bit in this with the clothes, and I actually start off with a base color of orange, and I later add the red just to make the fabric more shiny, kind of like silk. As you can see here, I'm using 2 shades of orange before the actual red. And for the really dark parts, I use this kind of magenta color. Now, the Sharpies are alcohol-based markers, so they will blend to an extent. And I find that blending wasn't the most challenging task, even if I just use ultra-fine tips. I think what makes Sharpies more difficult to use in coloring is that the limited color range that they have. They have a lot of really bright and saturated colors, but not a lot of light pastel-y colors. So this makes it hard for some people to achieve the color variation that they want. You have to get a little creative, and you're probably not going to be able to render super detailed stuff. But these have their own ups, like the color is really bright and everything looks really saturated and vibrant. Oh, and you can see here, I forgot to draw the gloves in. So, I just did. And the Sharpies because they're so bright and saturated, they layered over that existing skin color really nicely. So if you make some mistakes like that, it's easier to correct. But it's very difficult to go lighter on something you've applied. And rendering the kind of gold brass-ish texture of the cannon was the most difficult because I didn't have a lot of colors. So I had to use this really bright yellow instead, and it kind of made the cannon look like gold, which isn't really a bad thing per se. But if you're going to render textures like these, be warned that you're going to have a tricky time. And with this, I'm using a navy blue, but I didn't want it to be so dark all the way, so I just blended out with a light gray. It takes a bit of scrubbing to blend these markers out, so I recommend that you use a bit of a thicker and smoother paper. I used the Deleter manga paper, but you can also use cardstock, like the Expressit cardstock, which I think is popular in some other countries. And then now I'm doing the dragon cannon on her back. And I'm using the same technique. As you can see, I'm dotting out the brown and then I blend it out with the yellow again. So the Sharpie markers are blendable to an extent. And you can get some gradations. It just takes time and effort. So this has been the Sharpie challenge. It's been really fun to work with other materials because they make you kind of rely more on your techniques and your knowledge rather than just on the quality of your materials. But these Sharpie markers actually aren't bad. They're pretty good for coloring, and if you have some of the broader tips, not the fine tip ones, I think you're all set. You could use that to augment a collection of Copics if you're on a tighter budget. You could just get those and then get some of the lighter colors in the Copics that are in there, like the skin colors. So yeah, that has been my Sharpie challenge, and if you want to do a challenge like this, just feel free to make a video yourself, or even if you don't make a video, you just want to post somewhere, and then do the hashtag Sharpie challenge, because I'd love to see what you make. So that has been it for this video, and if you enjoyed it, show some love to the thumbs up down below, and subscribe to my channel. I upload weekly art videos, sometimes speed paint, sometimes product reviews, and there's going to be a lot more coming for this channel this year. So thanks for watching!